Yes, thank you so much for the introduction, Jiri. Like Jiri said, yes, I will be talking about lifecycle hooks in Vue today. So a little bit about me. Like Jiri said, I am an independent front-end consultant, and I give consultations regarding enterprise grade development. And I also do consultations on strategy, some mentorship, and I also train a lot of developers too. I've been working remotely for the past 5 years. Vue has been my framework of choice for about 3 years now. I love open source. I've been heading several projects at an open source organization named Why Not Earth. You can find me at more places with the username at atharv3010. And also, we are always looking for new contributors. So if you do want to join our organization, you can go here by clicking on the link. Apart from this, before we start, I do want to notify you that Jiri must have shared some links in the description. One will take you to the deck, which I'll be using for this whole talk. Other will be taking you to the GitHub link for the repository, which we will use to host the code. So we should begin now. Okay, so overview. In this session, we'll roughly be covering a little bit about the Vue instance, lifecycle hooks, what they are, the list of all the lifecycle hooks that are available to us, lifecycle hooks explained one by one, when to and when not to use them, listening to child components lifecycle hooks, and then we'll talk a little bit about SSR, hooks in servers workers, and in component route cards. Then we'll also talk about a few things to keep in mind. Then I'll drop some links you can use as reference to read further on this topic. So let's get started. A little bit about the Vue instance. As per the docs, every Vue application starts by creating a new Vue instance. And the Vue instance, after the Vue instance is created, it does go through certain phases during its initialization. It exposes some properties and it runs some methods. Now, here is the diagram you can see. If it's not visible properly, I can probably show it to you. Okay, so once the Vue instance is initialized and the events in the life cycle is initialized, we start getting some hooks. The red boxes that you see here, these are the lifecycle hooks that we'll be covering in today's talk. Now, we have certain hooks called before create, created, before mount, mounted, before update, updated, before destroy, and destroyed. Apart from these, there are also some special hooks which we'll also cover in this talk. Okay, so lifecycle hooks, what are they exactly? Now, if we were to think of component as a living being, it would not be wrong to say that just like living beings, a component may also notify us about certain important events in its life cycle. Just like we have birth, then we have the life phase, and then we have the death phase. A component also has creation, updations, and destruction hooks. Now, these steps and milestones that we speak of, they are actually methods, or you can call them functions. And these methods and functions are known as the lifecycle hooks. Now, these lifecycle hooks, since they can be referenced directly in the Vue scope, and they are used as placeholder functions or hooks to perform certain operations when they are called. That's why we see that lifecycle hooks are an example of Vue using the template method design pattern, because we have hooks or placeholders. Now, we have talked about that in the diagram, that we have certain hooks before create, created, mount, mounted, before update, updated, before destroy, destroyed. And then we have three other special hooks: activated, deactivated, and error captured. We'll talk about all these hooks one by one. So starting off with before create. This before create hook is called immediately after the Vue instance, the events in the life cycle has been initialized. It has no access to any of the components' reactive data and events. It's good to use this hook to execute code that doesn't need to assign to any values to the reactive data. As after the reactivity is set up, it's all going to be lost anyways. let's jump into a code and see how that works. So we have this component home.view. Sorry. Now in this component, sorry, you don't not have to worry about all the code apart from this particular hook. We'll be covering all of that later in this talk. And for now, we just need to see what we are console logging out, and we have this dot data property. Now let's run our app. Let's refresh this. Okay, so we see before create and state is undefined. That means that the reactivity is not set up yet, and we do not have access to the data property. So that is about before create. Now, when do we use before create? Before create use hook can be used when we want to perform certain operations. We do not have any concern to the state of the component. If you were to perform some API operations without saving any state, just notifying, you can do that. And similar other use cases can be there. Created. Now, in the created hook, we have the injections and the reactivity. All that has been initialized. Let's go back to the diagram so that it can be a little bit clear. Okay, so yes, injections and the reactivity has been initialized and created. And we now have access to the $L property is not yet available. So we do not have access to the DOM yet, but the state is there. And we can use this hook to perform API calls and store the responses. We can also, like for example, if you were to fetch certain payload, perform a GET request, the data which needs to be fed inside the component, this is the place to do so. Now, let's jump in code and see what happens in created. So for now, we are going to say that created and state is this $data, then the DOM, if it's available or not. Okay. So here, sorry. Yes. So inside created, the state is now available. We have the state variables, message, timer. The DOM is, however, undefined. Now, after the created hook has been called, it runs through certain steps. You can see them right here. When the element has been mounted and it has been compiled into render function, the outer HTML of the else has been compiled as the template, and then we come to the before mount hook. Now inside the before mount hook, is called right before the mounting process begins. The render function is to be called for the first time. This $EL doesn't exist right now, and before mount hook is our last chance to perform any operation before the DOM gets rendered and mounted. So if I were to expand the code of before mount, we are console logging before mount, and we are checking if the DOM is available to us or not. So like you can see, before mount, DOM is undefined. Now, let's move on to the next hook, that is mounted. Right after the instance has been mounted and the DOM is available, the mounted hook is called. It ensures now we can since we have access to the DOM, we can now do any kind of manipulations there. The mounted hook, however, does not guarantee that all the child components have been rendered. There might be third-party components which may take some time to render. So Vue provides us $nextTick function which we can use inside the mounted hook, and we can wait till all the child components are rendered and then do our operations. Now the mounted hook is a good place to add any third-party integrations like Google Maps, Stripe components, Chartist, any other third-party component which needs to directly interact with the DOM. So let's jump back to mounted, and we are going to console log mounted the DOM is, and let's see if the DOM is defined or not. So yes, the app is mounted and the DOM has been defined. We have access. So let's move forward. Before update. Now this hook is called right before the component is updated and the DOM is patched. What does this mean? Whenever we are doing any kind of updations, for instance, if I were to change the text inside this text box, just for the reference, this is V model. So it is two-way bound to the text that is being displayed here. So any changes that we make here will be updated and directly reflected. See, so you see a bunch of hooks have been called before update, updated, before update, updated, before update, updated. So what happens in before update is that it shows us the checkpoint right before the DOM is to be patched and any update has been done. So if, for instance, we were checking the text, so it would show us the state right before the change was made, and we can do any kind of manipulations we want to right before the update. Similarly, we have the updated hook that is called right after that, and it ensures that the DOM is patched and re-rendered and our updates are saved. Now, just like mounted, we also have the $next tick function here, which we can use to ensure that the entire view has been updated and re-rendered, and then we can perform operations accordingly. You can see the updated hook working here, and we are listening for it here. So further down this talk, I'll talk about when we should use before update and updated, and when not to use them. We'll talk about this further down the talk. Now we have the destruction hooks, that is before destroy and destroyed. So first talk about before destroy. Now this function is called right before the view instance is destroyed. What does that mean? It means that at this stage, this instance is still fully functional and we can make any kind of changes or mutations that we may want to. Before destroy is a last chance at making any kind of cleanups, prevent any data leaks that we may have created in the created hook. Now, when we jump to the code, let's say if I were to create a timer, right? So this timer is nothing. We have a data property named timer. We are just setting a set interval here of 300 milliseconds, and it will just console log timer. So if we go back to our app, we see the timer is running 44, 50, 53, 54, 55, and it just keeps going on. And even if I change the route, that is the component is destroyed, nothing happens. The timer still keeps running. So we have a data leak here. Now, memory leak. Now, how do we prevent this? Well, that's simple. I can go to the before destroy hook. I can do before destroy hook a clear interval here. I can do before destroy hook a clear. So if we were to refresh the app, we will see the timer is running, and when we change the route now, before destroy hook was called and the timer has been stopped. It is not being called anymore. So this is just a simple example of how we can use before destroy to do any last moment cleanups that we may want to. Now let's talk about the destroyed hook. Now the destroyed hook is called after a view instance has been destroyed. This is the last hook in the entire view lifecycle, and inside this hook nothing is available. Like all the directives of the view instance have been unbound, all the event instances have been removed, all the child view instances have been destroyed. Destroyed hook can be used to send some logs or perhaps analytics to external services. So now we have some special hooks: activated, deactivated, and error captured. So let's go through them one by one. Now activated and deactivated, these two hooks are specific to the keep alive component. And just keep in mind, these hooks can be listened to via child component, like we'll be doing in a example code. So if I were to comment this out and uncomment this, so right now we have all the child listeners and we have the destroyed and activated. So for now, we'll not talk about all of these. We'll only talk about the destroyed and the activated. So okay. Now, what if? Yes. Okay, so yes, we see the child activated hook. That means that the child hook was activated. We were listening to it here. Child hook logs just it's just a simple component that console logs a certain message. So it was activated, and when we change the route, we can see that the child has been destroyed. Okay. Sorry, deactivated. Yep, and that's a little bit better now. Okay, so yes, once we click on about, yes, child component has been deactivated. Now this hooks can be used to perform any kind of operations on activation and deactivation hooks. That that can be anything like some state changes or API calls or whatever. Now we have the special hook called error captured. Now error captured hook is called when any error from a descendant component is captured. This hook can return false to stop the error from propagating further. However, error capture hook does not catch every error that may occur in the component. We'll see what that means in our case and how we can use that to set up error handling in our component. So let's, yeah. So let's leave it this way. Okay. Right. So if I were to say, then in a certain case, okay, yeah. So we have this throw error method, which will throw a new error and with an error message. And we'll see like how we can use this function to throw errors and catch them in the error capture loop. And what errors get captured and what errors are not captured. So let's say when the child component was mounted, it threw an error. Okay, and we are also going to, yes, yeah, that works well. Okay, so let's see what happens when we reinitialize our app and the whole lifecycle looks for run again. We saw that the child component was rendered and error was captured. Error child error, yeah. And we can see that it has been captured and destroyed, sorry, error captured hook, because we are console logging error captured, the error, the component, and the details. We have access to the component right here. All the properties regarding that, element, listeners, and everything. And then we also have the handler. Cool. So this was an example of when the error capture hook works and when we can listen to errors. Now, let's say let's say if I were to, instead of throwing an error inside the child component, if I were to throw an error inside my mounted hook of the same component where the error captured hook is present, let's say what happens in that case. This dot throw error from mounted. And let's run this. So we can see error in mounted hook, error from mounted. The error from the mounted hook was not captured by the error captured hook. This is something strange, you might say, and this is not ideal behavior, because I would expect that the error capture hook should capture all kinds of error. Well, it does not. Vue provides us a solution to this. We can define a global error handler that can handle all kinds of error inside a component, inside any component. All the errors which are not being handled by the error capture hook by default gets pushed to the global error handler. So if we were to refresh our app again, we would see that global error handler, error from mounted, it has captured that. Similarly, there can be many other use cases where we can use this form of error handling. We'll not be diving deep into that in this talk. Now let's see. Yes, so now let's talk about programmatic lifecycle hook registration. Well, we can set up listeners to different lifecycle hooks using $on and $once, and depending the hook name with hook in colon. So if I were to say that I wanted to access mounted and listen to mounted event inside a single lifecycle hook, I can do that too programmatically. So let's see if I were to uncomment this out, what would happen is first the created hook will be called, and when the mounted hook is called, it will console log mounted and DOM is this. And just for the sake of display, we will comment out a mounted hook. Okay. Now let's run this. Created and then mounted. So mounted was called within the created component. And similar pattern is used when we are listening for hooks from the child components. Now listening to child components lifecycle hooks. We have talked about this previously a little bit, but we'll go much into depth right now, and we'll see that there are many ways how you can actually think of listening to child lifecycle hooks. One of them might be that you will go inside the child hook, child component, sorry, and emit events which you can listen. So if I were to say I wanted to listen to created hook, I could either just emit created. Now the issue with this approach is that what if I am using a third-party component? I will not have access to this code, the code inside the component. I cannot certainly emit events from that and listen to them. So Vue provides us a default way of doing that using ad hook listeners. And we can listen to all the child events, child lifecycle events using this. Before create, created, before mount, mounted, before destroy, destroyed, activated, and deactivated. So let's see. Yeah. Okay. So before create, the state is undefined. That's okay. Created before mount, and before mount, after before mount, the child component came in and it was rendered, and its lifecycle was run. Then the whole DOM was mounted. So you can see that how we can listen to lifecycle hooks from child components. or any third-party components within a wrapper. Now, what about SSR? Since there are no dynamic updates of all the lifecycle hooks, only before create and created will be called during SSR. What does this mean? This means that any code inside other lifecycle hooks, such as before mount or mounted, will only be executed on the client. Now, this is something to pay attention to, because if I were to create the same timer that we did while back, if I were to do it during SSR, I won't be able to clear that interval because the timer is producing a global side effect and it has been run during the initial render on the server side. The before destroyed hook will be run on the client side, so it will not have any effect on the server. Now, I won't be talking much about this, and you can read more if you want to within the talks here. So I'll drop the PPT in description and you can see that. So let's talk about the next thing. Okay. What about service workers? Now, after the service worker is registered, we can subscribe to certain hooks and if need be, execute some operations on these hooks. The following hooks are available to us: ready, registered, cached, update found, updated, offline, error. And you can see all of them inside your register service worker.js. If you're using Vue CLI 4, it comes packaged by default, but you can create the file yourself too. So you have all these hooks. It also logs out certain things, and you can use that to perform any kind of operations that you may want to. One example is when the update is found, you can notify the user that the update is found and please refresh. Okay, you can perhaps do auto refresh if you want to, in case the component has found an update, the app has found an update, sorry. I won't be talking much about that here because this is beyond the scope of this talk. We also have in-component route navigation guards before route enter, before route update, and before route leave to. They accept 3 arguments, to, from, and next. These navigation guards can be used to check for certain conditions or perform operations before navigation happens or updates take place. We can listen to them just like we listen to a lifecycle hooks inside a component as well, and they can be used to perform different operations. For route enter. So, well, again, I won't be talking about this right now. So, yes. Now, a few things to keep in mind. Whenever we are using lifecycle hooks, we do not want to use error functions. Now, the reason of not using error functions is that in the case of error functions, this does not refer to the Vue instance. It refers to the parent instance. Also, so like if you were using error functions, you won't be able to access the Vue properties, the data properties, the DOM, instance like that. If we were to use a build step, say single file components, then template compilation is done ahead in time before any of the hooks are called. To react to state changes, it is better to use watchers and computer properties rather than changing state inside an updation hook, unless we want to make general changes to the whole component. The hooks don't care about the return value. The Vue lifecycle hooks will continue uninterrupted even if we try to break the execution in any of the hooks. Error captured hook does not handle all errors by default. We talked about that right now, that error captured hook does not capture all the errors, and we should use a global error handler function to handle that. Also, some of you might ask me, what if I were to do an API call and where I would place that code? So like I said before, you can do that inside created, and I can show you an example to do that. Yes, so I have a store setup. to.js. It has an action to fetch to-dos, returns a promise, and my Axios instance calls the to-dos endpoint, and we'll get the response stored inside the state, and then we'll fetch it using get to-dos. So let's try that. I'll comment this out and let's see what happens. Okay, so all the to-dos are rendered, and we can see them right here. Now you might say that I want to call this API inside mounted. Well, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can face a time delay. And if you're just storing the data, the state is available inside the created hook. So you can do that right there. Let's see if I were to console.log the time. Let's comment this out for now. And if I were to console.time end inside the mounted hook, sorry, mount and mounted. Okay, so let's see what happens. For update, sorry. Okay, so we got 22.44465 milliseconds, and this delay is a huge delay, which we do not want when we are calling an API, and so it's better to just call it inside created. So if we were to do this fetch to-dos function inside mounted, it will be called after the DOM has been patched and rendered. So there will be a delay of about 22.67 seconds or 40 seconds. Now, another thing to keep in mind, the before destroyed hook can be also used to clear any state that we have, which we may want to clean up. For let's say if I do not want to store these to-dos inside my whole app, and I just want them to be present in the home component, though we should use local state for that, but let's say I just want to use Vuex to that, I can clear the state in the before destroy hook. So let's say I click on fetch to-dos. The to-dos are fetched, the component is updated, and I click on about destroyed, and the before destroy hook was called here, and we see the length is 0. That means that this to-dos, its length is 0. So state was cleared, and we no longer see the to-dos here. That is another use case which we can use for before destroy. Okay. This is pretty much it. If you have any questions regarding this talk, I will be happy to take them. I'll also be referencing the docs here, which are the wonderful resource to read further about this lifecycle hooks. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.